love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now waiting, better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything.
Hey everybody, this is Praxis. There are two types of interactions that I have here on my channel. One is very prevalent and one is very rare. The one that's very rare is trolls. I know trolls are present, all over the internet. Prepping channels are always talking about people like, sending all these threats and things like that. I don't get very much of that here on my channel. I think because my channel, I stick to things that I'm doing, that I've tried, and I demonstrate that they're working. And it's kind of difficult for a troll to pop in and say, that'll never work, if like your video is you demonstrating that it works. That doesn't say that people don't try. In fact, in my recent video where I talked about what I do to try to prevent getting ill in the during the cold and flu season, I still have people coming in saying that'll never work, but the interaction dies off pretty quickly because it's presently functioning really well. It's like, how can you argue that something that's happening isn't happening? People do it, people try, but it doesn't last very long. The bigger interaction, and the one that I love about what goes on here on my channel, is when I'm interacting with you guys and we're sharing ideas and we're kind of springboarding off of each other. I don't oftentimes say this about my channel, but I always think it, and I want to say this in this video, that you should consider all the things that I talk about here on my channel as a floor, not a ceiling. If I'm talking about things that I do, think about that as that's like a base level that you could start at, and then the sky's the limit from there. And I love it when you guys kind of springboard off of things that I've suggested. And in this video, I want to talk about one specific idea that was bounced back at me this morning, and I got so excited about it, I wanted to do a video about it. So we're going to jump to that. I want to do some diagrams. I'm going to sketch some things out for you. It relates to the idea of making a ventilation system for a shelter that you might want to use if you wanted to filter your air coming into a shelter. I created a really large bellows system, and this person came up with kind of a cool idea. It's smaller, but it'd be a lot easier for people to make. It'll take up less room. Well, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, and I'll be sketching out, kind of my reaction to their idea, because that's what's great about this platform, these social media platforms, is people can like throw out hate at each other and give themselves whatever like serotonin boost that they need in their own head. But the real benefit of these is for people that want to share ideas and bounce ideas off of each other, and together we all do better. That's the way that I certainly feel, and I think that reality bears that out. So we're going to talk about that, but at the end of this video, I want to talk about something completely unrelated that it's just fluff for fun. I'm noticing this a lot, like younger millennial males doing this thing. And I wonder if you've noticed it. We're going to talk about it at the end of the video. But I was watching a video recently and I was like, wow, I see people doing that all the time, and I only see younger millennial males doing this gesture. And I wonder if you've ever noticed this in people. So we're going to talk about that at the end of the video. But right now, let's talk about this really cool idea that a viewer of this channel came up with. And, I'm kind of springboarding off of their idea back and forth. And I think this is the exciting thing about social media. Okay, so here is the idea. I'm going to sketch it out on this piece of cardboard here, and it relates to a way of bringing air into a shelter. I had created a set of bellows recently, and the way that I did that is I made kind of a box, and I made the box such that it had a lid on it, and the lid had a handle, and in here I had a set of bellows. Right here, and as the handle opened up, the bellows opened up, and it drew air into the box through two sets of holes. I had the holes on opposite sides, but for the purposes of this drawing, I'll draw them on the same side. One of them had a check valve where air could go in, and one of them had a check valve where air could go out. So as you drew air in by opening up this handle, which can close all the way down to here, and it opened up, you'd have air flow in, and then you push it down and air would flow out. Open it up, air flows in, close it down, air flows out. So I built this, and the way that I built it is this was all just made out of wood. It's kind of like a box shaped like this, and I had one hole on one side, one hole on the other side. There's a check valve here, so the air could go in one side, out the other. And on top of this, I made a little lid, and the lid had a circular hole in it, and then this lid here kind of slapped down on top of it like that with the handle, and this is where the that little bellows thing went. And the bellows was just made up out of one of those, you know, those collapsible trash cans for like leaf debris in your yard. They kind of like accordions. That's what I use for that. So that's how I built mine. So a viewer was watching the video, and he was asking me some questions about that, and he had an idea, which or he or she, I don't know whether it's a man or a woman. You know, on a prepping channel, it's usually a safe bet that it's a guy, but I don't know. They had an idea that they could, instead of using this leaf barrel, they could use, you know, those plungers that they have kind of an accordion sort of thing themselves. It's a really lousy accordion drawing there. But you know the plungers I'm talking about. They're not like the suction cup looking plungers. They have like that accordion kind of thing, and then there's like a handle, and there's like a end over there or something like that. They were talking about using one of these for it, and I thought that that was really, really interesting because it's something you can buy. It's all like ready to go, and especially because of this end here. I'm not sure of the exact diameter of this end, you know, from this side to this side, like what that is. But I bet it's probably close to like 3 inches, maybe 4 inches, somewhere in that ballpark. And what this got me thinking was you could make a really simple kind of bellows with this. And the way that you could do it would be is if you just attached it to a T of like PVC or, you know, ABS plumbing drainage pipe or something like that. You could get a T shape, and you could attach this together. I think you'd have to kind of like see exactly what the diameters were here. I think ideally what you'd want to do is to slip this over that area right there, and take one of those like little pipe clamps, the kind that are made of metal, that you use a little screw on this end, kind of tighten them down. They look kind of like this, where yeah, it's kind of like a loop shape, and then there's like this little bolt that you tighten down on this side, and there's like a screw that goes through them, and they have like these little notches all along them. Again, it's made of metal, and it can like clamp things down. I think if you did that here, especially if you put like some kind of like a rubber gasket or something, like wrap some, you know, rubberized tape or something like that around the plumbing fixture to get it to be the right size, you could get a pretty secure connection on here. So what this would do is you'd pull the plunger open, and it would pull air in both sides, and then you'd close the plunger up, and it would blow air out both sides. To make this into a pump to draw air into a shelter, all you'd have to do is just attach 2 check valves to either ends. You know, one check valve aimed to bring air in, and one check valve to blow the air out. Once you did that, every time you actuate this, it draws in and blows out, draws in and blows out. The difference between this design and this design is that when you do a full stroke, when you cycle through this one, you only get like, I don't know, that's got to be like maybe 1/3 of a cubic foot of air in here. And the one that I built was much larger, you know, because you have a much bigger bellows. So when I do one stroke on mine, I get, you know, maybe a few cubic feet of air, and this one you'd have to do multiple strokes just to get 1 cubic foot of air. But the benefit of this is, you know, I had to build this whole box and all that. You can buy this T just from a plumbing supply store. You can buy the check valves ready to go to be attached onto there. You know, all this stuff you can just kind of buy. You don't need like tools like saws or anything like that to build that. And also, this is going to be really small. You know, it's very compact. Mine's, you know, it's pretty bulky. This this thing here, it's like, I don't know, it's like 2 feet. 2 feet tall, 2 feet wide. So you know, all said, you've got like, you know, many square feet of space that gets used up by mine. This one you could throw in a corner somewhere, and I thought it was a really cool idea. So if you're thinking about creating a shelter and you want some way of getting air into your shelter, I would suggest, if you don't want to, you know, go crazy with this build, and the viewer had also asked me about if I detailed how I built this. This build was outlined in my my series, my very unpopular series called Little House of Quarantine, where I'm building my house, building the root cellar, building the fallout shelter, building all these things. It was a very practical series, and it taught you how to do all these things, but you know, here on YouTube that kind of stuff isn't very popular, so almost nobody watched it. In fact, Canadian Prepper, I think Canadian Prepper described it as my channel killing series. And he highly suggested that I do some change around the way that I release those episodes. So I'm working on that right now, because I agree with him. It was completely killing my channel, and continues to do so to this day. So I do outline that in the series, and you can check out that series through a playlist that I still have to the series. All of the videos have been unlisted, but you can still watch them if you go to the playlist for the series. And it happens like in the day like 900 plus or something like that. It's a very long series. It was every single day building my entire house, you know, from the ground up, clearing the trees and everything like that. It was a very nitty gritty for people who were really serious about it, and it was also good at killing my channel. So that is where you know, you could find out a little bit more about how I built this thing. But this is really, really simple. I love it because it's one plumbing fixture, 2 check valves, you know, a little bit of a gasket or something like that you could make out of just some rubberized tape, this kind of pipe clamp, and then a plunger. Really, really cool idea. I love it when people take ideas and then they springboard them, come up with other ideas, and you know, there's pros to this and there's cons to each of these. You know, this one's big and bulky, it takes more time to build. This one's quicker to build, but it you know, isn't quite as effective. But you know, at the same time, it's going to store really small. And if you are going to have some kind of a fallout shelter, it's really super important to have some way of getting air in if the power fails and you know, your fans that are bringing air into the space stop working. You need to have a way of getting air in, you know, filtered air. You'd obviously need to have a filter, you know, up here somewhere, you know, wherever the air is coming from. You need to have a filter membrane. I think I might have drawn off the screen there, but you need, when you're bringing air in, it has to be coming through a filter at some point. And I would suggest making your filters really big so that it's not super hard to suck air through them, so you have a lot of surface area. But it's really important to have some kind of a manual way of bringing air in, because you know, you can last for, you know, a few weeks without food, a few days without water, but only a few minutes without air. Air is super important, so it's important to have some kind of a backup in case you lose power. And also, it's a fun project to put together. I think all this kind of tinkering is enjoyable. Prepping is my hobby. It has side benefits of, you know, possibly saving my life and making my life more convenient from now. You know, from time to time, but also it's fun coming up with this stuff and tinkering. Okay, so I think that's a really cool idea. I like how all the parts are kind of, you know, you buy them already assembled. You don't have to do a lot of the assembly yourself, and you can kind of just put the thing together almost like a Lego set, and you know, you have a functional unit. Also, it's really small. So I thought it was a cool idea, and I wanted to share it with you guys. And if that gives you another idea, springboard it back to me, and then I'll bounce it back to the community, and we'll just keep improving these ideas over time. So let's talk about this weird thing that I see like young millennial males doing. I see it in videos when they're talking about something like a theme that's like greater than themselves. You know, they're talking about like compassion, or you know, the power of working together, or you know, those types of ideals. They'll be talking about it, and they do this gesture at the end. I wonder if you've ever seen it. It involves, they kind of take their hands like this, and then they settle. And I think they usually look at the camera. So it's like, and the world would be so much better off if we'd work together. And there's like these little claw hands like this, and it's like this settling, you know, the power of love. I don't know if you've noticed that, and if you've noticed anyone doing that isn't a younger millennial male doing that. It's just interesting when you see kind of similar mannerisms and things like that kind of bring a community of people together. That's it. Thanks for watching. This episode has been brought to you in part by Prescott Caliber Club and Jeske Defense Strategies. Prescott Caliber Club is a federally licensed firearm manufacturer and retail store specializing in firearms, survival gear, and producing great online content. If you want to thank them for supporting this channel, go check them out at PrescottCalClub.com. Please subscribe and tune in every week for new videos. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so through Patreon or PayPal.